Al, I've heard a lot of people have been trying to talk to you about this film.
It's true they have.
They really want you to know that this film exists.
Yeah, they do.
And you're like, look, it's me. I know this exists.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I am well aware.
Oh, I just realized there was another person who sent me a message about it too. Okay, so that's like what, 4 or 5 that I'm up to now?
Good Lord.
Yeah. You know what? Like I said, if this is my legacy, then I am happy with that.
It's true. Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Season Language Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello.
This is episode number 237. And we're going to talk about the Dynasty Warriors film adaptation.
Yeah, we are.
It's true. But first,
First.
we have breaking news that will not be as breaking Saturday when this goes up.
Oh.
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 They announced a new Switch model.
They did.
The Nintendo Switch OLED model,
Yep. What a name.
which is just a very slightly bigger screen.
Yep.
A dock with a LAN port in it.
Yep.
And that's about it.
Yep. Yep.
Internally is the same. Just, got a better screen, essentially. That's it.
Yep. That's it.
There you go. There's your new Switch model.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. Doesn't necessarily rule out the fact that they may do an actual better version at some point down the road, but for now, not the case.
And that's what we get right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was underwhelming,
Yeah.
I guess is the best way to put that.
Yes. But hey, if you haven't got
Also,
a Switch yet,
they
this is
stealth dropped it.
they did. If you haven't got a Switch yet, this is, I guess, the one to get.
Yeah, I mean, like if you don't have one yet, this would definitely be the version to get, unless like maybe they price dropped the old one. I don't know, but
Yeah, because this one is like $350.
yep.
So a little bit more expensive. But yeah. New Switch model.
Comes in white.
Comes in white.
Ooh,
Yay.
yay.
But that's it.
Yeah. I did see a lot of people on Twitter like, oh, they're trying to be the PS5. I'm like, no,
Huh?
that's absolutely not what they're trying to do.
Huh?
That's like the opposite of what they're trying to do. Like, just because you make a system white does not mean you were trying to be a PS5.
All right.
You know what? People are dumb.
Yes.
And people want to flame them console wars as much as they possibly can for some god-awful reason.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, it was certainly a thing this morning. Also, they were just like, hey, look at this Breath of the Wild sequel on here. Totally playable right now.
Ooh.
Yay. And that guy who was like standing there in the commercial, like, I think it was a Pokemon, and he wasn't actually pressing anything. Did you notice that?
I didn't even watch the commercial.
Oh, you didn't watch the commercial? Okay, well, there was this guy who was like standing in the hallway, I think playing Pokemon. And he was literally just holding the thing. He wasn't pressing any of the buttons. And I'm like, oh, yes. Playing the Nintendo Switch.
That's how you play games.
I mean, I too just hold the system and hope that it plays.
I also do too.
Yeah, it was quite the announcement.
So yeah, that's that.
Yep.
Let's talk about Dynasty Warriors.
Let's talk about Dynasty Warriors.
This is a film.
It is a film. It is a Chinese film.
Yes.
It's dubbed.
It is dubbed. Yeah, that's true.
Oh boy. Man. This is a film. Do you have any like background on it, or are we just going straight into it?
I do have a little background on this.
All right, let's have some background.
This film was announced to be being made back in 2016.
Wow.
And they didn't film it until 2017.
Okay.
So you got that. Apparently the dude who played Lu Bu got injured on the set.
It's probably that stabbing.
He suffered an eye injury.
Oh God.
And it was like, I can stay. I'll finish this up, everyone. And the director's like, no, you got to go to the hospital.
Oh God. Jeez.
So there's that.
Dedication. Oh boy.
They filmed most of it, I guess, in China and then some of it in New Zealand.
Oh, huh. Wonder which parts were in New Zealand.
Apparently background scenes.
Probably those like mountain shots that were totally real.
Probably. So yeah, they wrapped up filming in 2017, showed off a trailer in 2018, and it was like, hey, it's coming out in 2019. And then didn't come out until this year.
Wild.
Netflix purchased the global distribution rights for apparently a record-breaking 8-figure price.
Wow.
Why they needed to spend that much money? That's who's to say?
Somebody at Netflix is a big Dynasty Warriors fan. I promise I don't work for Netflix, guys.
It's you.
I do not work for Netflix. But I would probably push pretty hard to get this if I did work for Netflix. Maybe not 8 figures, but still, geez, that's a lot of money. It's going to be an interesting return on investment, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Apparently, at the box office, it has grossed a total of $3.31 million US.
Okay. Do we have a budget?
300 million in Hong Kong dollars.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know how that translates either, but
You said 300 billion?
million.
300 million in Hong Kong. Let me see if I can find that. 300 million Hong Kong dollars to US dollars. This is live. This is happening.
Exactly. I will tell you, apparently the film debuted at #1 in Hong Kong in its opening weekend.
Wow.
In mainland China, it debuted at #9, and then in Taiwan, it debuted at number 13.
38 million.
38 million, so it did not make back its money at all.
Whoops.
Ooh, boy.
Yikes.
Well, I guess this does not include the money they got from Netflix.
Right. So you'd probably have to.
So if that's 8 figures, that's at least 10 million that they're making off of that.
Yeah. So maybe.
Maybe, but they didn't get that from the box office, that's for sure.
Oofa doofa. Yikes.
And then, of course, reviews for this film were not good.
What?
I know, very shocking.
What?
A reviewer from the South China Morning Post gave it a 2.5 out of 5.
Oh, wow.
And then a reviewer from IGN gave the film a 2 out of 10.
Which I think is the one that we talked about.
Yes.
I don't remember what they said, but 2 out of 10, man. That's impressive.
Noting a lack of character development, a bloated story that is incomprehensible to those unfamiliar with the games or the original source material, and poor direction and visual effects.
I think those are all valid complaints.
I would say so as well.
Oh, man. But you got to experience it live because we watched it together via the internet.
Yes.
And when you are familiar with the source material and you're me, Jared gets to hear things like me yelling out character names who are like not really visible characters all that much in the story, or like when the phrase Hulao Gate was mentioned, I was like, yeah. So yeah, that's something that you got to experience, and so if you are familiar with the story, you will recognize a lot of, well, you'll recognize like the first few levels of the story. Yeah, they cut this down a bit.
Just a little bit.
Man. The visual effects are terrible.
Yes.
They're absolutely terrible. Like very, very visibly CG soldiers and horses and really just bad. Even like we were talking about earlier, like the fake backdrop for it, like it was all just very bizarrely done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, apparently, like all the budget went to the horse camera that you mentioned at one point. I was like, look at this horse.
Look at the undercarriage of this horse.
For some reason. And the very bad wigs. They're also very bad wigs. Like Sao Sao's actor's wig is very, very obviously a wig. I don't know why they didn't like spring for like a lace front or at least try and make it look like it was his hair, but they didn't.
There's like,
And it kind of looks like a very intensely braided Party City wig. Pretty intense. At least some of the other ones were fine. Like Liu Bei's was fine. Guan Yu had his like long beard. It was fine. Which Guan Yu was tiny in this. And I understand logistically it's going to be very, very hard to find a man that is the size of Guan Yu in the game.
mm-hmm.
That's very hard. But like, they got a little pipsqueak guy. Like, you're Guan Yu now. I'm like, are you though? Are you though? But he was able to pull it off decently in terms of like acting. Oh god, this movie. I will say it started off like every Dynasty Warrior should
Yes.
with the Yellow Turban Rebellion. If you're not starting with the Yellow Turban Rebellion, you're doing it wrong. So that was good. The story does mostly focus on Cao Cao and Liu Bei.
Mm-hmm.
Wu is kind of like barely mentioned and sidelined for the most part.
To like the back half of the film.
Even then, they're still not like the most prominent of like Cao Cao and Liu Bei definitely take over.
Yeah.
So that is Wei and Shu, if you are familiar with the Dynasty Warriors story. Which I guess if you're familiar with the story, you don't need me to tell you that. But I did think that Cao Cao's character or his actor looked a little bit too young. And they didn't give him the stupid facial hair, so it took me a second to figure out that it was him. I was like that can't be Cao P. It's too early for Cao P. Who are you? Oh, you're Cao Cao. And it also made me realize, and I swear to God, I've never really thought about this before. This is very much like my octopus mouth is in the armpit realization. I was like, Cao Cao just has the same name twice. Like his family name is Cao. And his family's like, what if we just also name him Cao? Like, who does that? Why would you do that to somebody?
Cao squared.
Cao squared. Like, I'm sure there is some like logistical reason for it that I'm not understanding because I don't know like Chinese naming practices. But they literally just named him the same thing twice. Like, how unoriginal do you get there? It's like if Billy Bob was Billy Bob, Billy Bob.
Oh, what if?
Oh man. So yeah, Cao Cao. Like I never realized that. Like I'm sure that I have recognized the fact that his name is Cao Cao, but I never put it together that I'm like, the man has the same name twice. Ripperoni, man. It's a big bummer. So yeah, he shows up. He's kind of like staring at the battle. Liu Bei and his boys come to the battle. So that's Zhang Fei, Guan Yu, and Liu Bei. They are the trio of brothers.
And this is our one of two big Muso fights.
Yes. Okay, so that is one thing that is worth mentioning is that you do get the screeching guitars, which is great. They
Kind
do,
of.
you get it in like this battle scene.
But there are other fight scenes later where you do not get it, and it is kind of disappointing.
It is very disappointing. You at least got it here. And I was like, all right, all right, all right. I'm into that. But yeah, there are just dudes upon dudes upon dudes dying here. And like that's really what you come to Dynasty Warriors for. And like you even get the EX moves pulled out, which is kind of cool, even though the effects are hot garbage. But yeah, just seeing dudes like fly up in the air after being attacked and get mowed down. I was like, this is Dynasty Warriors. Bad CG. Yeah, all right, all right. I'm feeling it. Um, we had like the weird homing arrow thing against Zhang Zhao, where Liu Bei is like, I'm going to shoot this arrow at you. Bloop, here I am. Hello. I was like, how did he do that? I want to be able to do that. I can't though. So yeah, I mean that's really how you start it. And like you said, this is one of two like big actual Musou battles. And in between those, you get plot question mark. None of which is really necessary or particularly interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Although there are some really funny parts in this, and I will give it that. I don't think it was intentionally supposed to be funny, but it was funny to both of us. But you see some of like Cao Cao's like plotting against Dong Zhao, who is keeping the emperor, the small kid emperor, hostage and keeping his mom under him. Yuck. They take the kid's hat away.
They do take his hat away.
He's like, "That's my hat, no!" And then they put another small child on the throne instead.
New small child hat.
Also, some dude just gets murdered. Like when he calls him out, it's like, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't take the emperor away." And he's like, "How about you just die?" And then the other guy, it's like, "So I guess I'll swear loyalty to you. Yeah, I really don't want to end up like that guy." Cool, I guess. So the emperor is prisoner. He's a prisoner. And Cao Cao is against this, and also like gets to flip a table, which was completely unnecessary, but also super cool. And I would have done it too. Like they're all just out there eating and talking, and he starts like giggling to himself like a weirdo, and then like basically calls them cowards and flips the table and leaves and is like, I'm gonna murder him then.
He's like, guards, take this guy away. He's like, I know where to go.
So yeah, most of the like middle plotty bits are focused on Cao Cao. There's some with Liu Bei and his brothers.
Mm-hmm.
But we get like the assassination attempt of Cao Cao against Dong Zhuo, which I don't remember if that actually was a thing that happened. It might have, but I totally don't remember. Also, because of course we have him in here. We get introduced to one Lu Bu.
Lu Bu!
Lu Bu!
Do not pursue Lu Bu.
Do not pursue Lu Bu. He is also, unsurprisingly, not as large as I expected. And he was older than I expected, but he did a pretty decent job. I think he probably was one of the better ones in terms of like figuring out how this role should be played.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
This Wikipedia page says he's one of the stalwarts of the Hong Kong film industry.
oh, well, good for him, I guess. Um, is that just like so he's in a lot of stuff, I guess?
Or he's just very prominent, I guess.
Okay, makes sense. Um, so yeah, you have you have Lubu. He has his sweet like cockroach antenna hat thingy.
He does.
I was real happy to see that. He has red hair, which was also fantastic and really exciting. And I was hyped to see red hair in this. Um, but yeah, like politics. Cao Cao's gonna go and try and assassinate Dong Zhuo with this little tiny sword thingy. Oh no, he woke up. Here, have this sword as a gift. Lu Bu's like, oh, you know he was trying to murder you, right? No, no, he gave me this knife.
That means
You,
he's cool.
you wouldn't give me a knife if you were trying to murder me. Even though, like, he literally woke up with him, like, holding a knife over him. I'm like, bruh,
He was still groggy. He didn't see. He didn't fully see.
bruh. Um, so yeah, Cao Cao's like, I should probably bounce. He has a horse. And then Lu Bu says, hey, he can't leave. And so everybody tries to attack him. He gets several arrows. He gets arrowed pretty hard.
Mm-hmm. And Lu Bu pursues.
Lu Bu pursues. What happens when they tell you do not pursue Lu Bu, but Lu Bu pursues you?
It's true. You're like, oh god, what do I do?
Oh no. So he becomes a wanted man. And also gets is he further injured or is he just injured and falls in that water from the arrows?
I don't
Oh
remember.
no, it's when Lu Bu cuts that freaking mountainside off.
Right.
Oh man, I forgot about that. They go chasing each other, or Lu Bu's chasing through the woods, and you get these really, really terrible shots through this horse race thing. And also at one point, Red Hair is like, "What if I just do a little loopy loop in the middle of this instead of pursuing? That'd be cool, right?" And it was cool. Thank you, horse that played Red Hair. I appreciate that. But yeah, he pursues them and then like cuts part of the mountain off.
Yeah.
And Cao Cao goes down with it, and he's like, "Hey, hey, hey, you're dead now." But then they did not find a corpse, so he's not dead. Which honestly, like, pro Lu Bu move there to have him cut through a mountain.
And then just be like, whatever, who cares?
Yeah,
See you
yeah,
later.
whatever. Like, I did something cool. I pursued you. I'm leaving now. Goodbye. So Cao Cao is taken in by some villagers. And he is injured, but they're treating him, and this lady sees his wanted posters, is like, I know this guy. What if I just turn him in? And then she like looks slyly right into the camera, and it was very unnerving. I don't know if that was unnerving to you, but it was very unnerving to me.
It's called acting.
She's like, oh, let me just look straight in the camera because I betrayed this man. Oh, okay. Guess you did. So he is taken captive, and I don't actually know who the heck this guy is that's with him, but he's supposed to be murdered, and he doesn't get murdered. His hair's all down too. He's got long hair. And the guy's like, you know what? Instead of murdering you, I'm just gonna be your bro. Let's hang out. Let's go traveling.
As you do.
Yeah. So they go traveling. All that's happening, and I guess at some point it's worth mentioning that like the three brothers Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zheng Fei decided they're also going to go through a forest, but it turns out they're apparently high as and they like get warped to the shadow realm and talk to this lady about weapons. And I don't remember if this happens like in what order, but this is something that happens. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, there are a few people who have like these legendary weapons," and eventually Cao Cao gets one. So maybe this was after that, but um, I forget who the other one is. Is it Lu Bu that has the other one? I don't remember.
Yes, right?
I think so. Somebody has it. Um, but yeah, apparently yes, because it's the blood eating weapons. Apparently it gets stronger as it eats blood.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this lady can apparently just see things, I guess. No explanation as to who she is, why she's there, what this is about. It's basically just an excuse to give them cool weapons.
Yeah, basically.
Uh, it's very weird. And then they just wake up in the middle of the woods, like, huh, all right, that was weird. Cool.
Also, now we have these cool weapons.
Cool weapons. Rad. So Liu Bei gets like his double swords, and Guan Yu's got his big pokey stick. I don't remember what Zhang Fei has. What does he have? What does he fight with? Heck. I never use him. I don't like his fighting style. Hey, I love you to death, but you're making this hard for me to type and figure out what his fighting weapon is. He has a spear.
Spearman.
Spear. Isn't that what Guan Yu has? Doesn't he have a spear of sorts? He's got a it says it's a Guandao. It's a pole weapon. I don't know the difference between a spear and a pole weapon. I'll be real with you. But anyway, so they have their weapons, and Cao Cao is on the run with his new friend who did not murder him, and they end up going to a associate's house. I don't remember the relation. But he's like, "Oh, great, you're here. Let us kill the pigs and feed you, and I need to go into town and get some wine. I will return." And and this entire thing just becomes like a series of errors.
Yep.
The Cao Cao's like, "I'm gonna take a nap. I need a nap." And then he wakes up and he hears them talking about like killing them off while they sleep. And then he thinks that he's locked inside of his room.
Mm-hmm.
And he realizes he's like, "Oh, the trip to get the wine, that's actually an excuse for him to like go get the army. This is all a ruse to murder me." So he just like breaks down the door and slaughters everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then he like notices the pigs and is like, "Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hello, pigs. Hi." And like everybody's just bloody and dead on the ground. He starts leaving and runs into the other guy and he's like, "So
Well, the other guy's just like, "Hey, where you going? Like, what's going on? I thought we were gonna, have a whole thing."
Yep.
And he's like, "Oh, about that.
Yeah.
I gotta kill you now."
Yep. Yeah. Like he runs into the wine man and he's like, "Oh, I've got all this wine. We're gonna have a party. I told them to slaughter the pigs." He's like, "I killed your entire family.
Oops.
My bee. How about I give you a consoling hug? Would that make you feel better that I killed your entire family? You know what would make you feel better if I just shanked you?" All right, bye.
Gotta go.
And the other guy's like, why did you murder that guy? I think I have regrets about letting you live. And I think that they're doing this to like establish that Cao Cao like can be a little bloodthirsty, but also this was just a series of weird errors on his part that he's just like, yikes, I just murdered a whole family. Um,
Oh well.
like, thanks, paranoia. Yay! This is fine.
And then like they're camping out, and the other dude goes to like kill Cao Cao, but then he just like chickens out and leaves. And Cao
Yep.
Cao's like wakes up with the knife. He's like, couldn't even kill me, you coward. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go raise my own army.
Yeah, baby. Um. So yeah, he decides that he's gonna raise an army and go take down Dong Zhuo. He's not gonna fail this time. Yay. Um. So they're trying to amass a crew of merry men who are going to, you know, go and take down Dong Zhuo and free the emperor. Um. As you know, as you would need to.
Mm-hmm.
So this leads to a weird scene where they're all like in this weird cave system type thing. I'm not sure what it is. But they're all there. And the leader of this crew is Yuan Shao. I think I pronounced that right. Yuan Shao. Anyway,
Sure.
he looks almost exactly like he does in the game, which is hysterical. Like it's almost a 1-for-1. And you see all these noble families bringing people in. And this is a moment where I did one of my screechy bits. Because I noticed that Sun Jian and Sun Se showed up. And Sun Jian also had Sun Quan with him. And I was like, oh, it's Sun Quan! Whoa! And then like once they actually confirmed to me that it was Sun Quan later on, I was like, yay, I nailed it. Sun Se does not have his stupid goatee, which is an improvement. But he also looks almost exactly the same as he does in the game, so it's pretty impressive. Sun Jian looks a little different, but it's close enough that I'm like, you know what, I buy it. But I was pretty stoked that they actually put Quan in there because that's not something I would have expected at all. Like at all. So yeah, they're trying to do like this allied support force to take down Dong Zhuo, who is at Luoyang, I think is the name of the city. Does that sound right?
Sounds right.
But in order to do that, we must go through Hulao Pass, which is, as any Dynasty Warriors fan would know, a pretty significant early game battle. One of which has a important scene with one Lu Bu. It's pretty cool. But we have to amass our forces first and also drink blood.
Yay!
Yay! Also I love that Liu Bei just shows up and like they're all just kind of like having a contest about like how many troops they brought. And for one, they're all weird about Liu Bei because like, so you're claiming to have royal ancestry, but you have no titles, you have no land. Who are you? What are you doing here?
Also, he like shows up to like go like be a part of the meeting, and like the guard's like, "No, what are you doing here?" And then Cao Cao shows up like, "Oh yeah, these guys are cool. Let them in."
Yeah. He's like, I have an invite. Look at my wooden box thing. Sure. And then they ask him like, so how many troops did you bring? He's like, 3. Us.
These are my troops.
That's what I brought. Me and my 2 brothers.
My brothers.
Yup. They're like, bro, are you kidding? It's just the three of you. What are you doing here? Um, which Sao really ends up like, I guess, standing up for him. They have this really weird frame scene that like Liu Bei is standing like on the lower ground and Sao is on the like raised area, just like looking down at him. And it's just framed so oddly. It's such a weird scene the way that they put it together. But um, Liu Bei is a man of the people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're like, all right, cool. Guess we got these three guys. You want to drink blood too? We
Yay!
drink some blood. Um, um, I don't remember who it is that shows up, but there's a guy that shows up from Dong Zhuo's forces.
Supposed to be his toughest fighter or something.
Yeah, which like wouldn't you think that's Lu Bu? But
It
anyway.
was like they show like him like send off that dude. Lu Bu is in the background like.
Yeah, he's like, this is my toughest guy. And Lu Bu's like,
That's me. That's me, right?
I am the toughest. I am the one who cut the side of a mountain, bro.
Exactly.
But yeah, he gets a little jelly. Yeah, this guy shows up to the cave and is like, hey, I want to fight some people. Let's do some dueling. You can't really make it to the town unless you do that. You can't go to Liu Yang unless you duel me. So fight me, bro. And so all these like big allied forces are like, oh, I'll send my strongest man out there and they'll fight him and they'll take him down real quick. And then in one of the like weirdest and funniest scenes of this movie, these people just keep battling this guy and he just keeps lopping their heads off and like flinging them up into this cave system somehow, even though it is very clearly shown that is a very far away cave from where these battles are taking place. So somehow he's like,
he's got a good arm on him.
But it's weird because he's like just flinging these heads. I'm like, what
Yep.
are you doing? And like at some point, the guy's up there like, oh my god, is another head gonna come this way? And they're just so upset. Which I mean, like that is valid to be upset that they're your friend's heads being flung at you, but just the way that it's phrased is like, are there gonna be more heads? And so eventually, Guan Yu's like, I'll do it. I got this. I'll make it quick. Sao like offers him some like warm wine for some reason, like it's steaming and it's gross. And he's like, no, I'll take it when I get back. It's fine. I'm gonna go do this. Obviously Guan Yu just like whoops this man's ass.
Mm-hmm.
And also, kills him.
Causes all the other dudes to flee.
Yeah. And then he just goes back up to the cave and his wine is still warm.
He's like, here's the head.
Blop.
Have fun with that.
Can I have that wine now? Yeah, he just has the head. Like, oh, okay, I guess. Which is this the part where like I was telling you that the cape like conveniently covered the head?
That sounds about right.
Or was that a different head? I think it was this head.
I think it was this one.
I guess they like either ran out of budget to CG the head or something, but he ended up like flinging his cape so it would cover the head. And I was like, huh, okay. Interesting choice. But yeah, so that's our one build up to Hulao Gate. We get a few moments of build up. Another one is Sao and Liu Bei just like dueling.
Yeah, they just go train against each other.
And they're just like flying at each other and jumping on bunches of rocks, complimenting each other a lot.
Yeah, as you do.
Yeah, just a bromance.
Just
there.
guy things.
I love that there's one part where like Liu Bei just basically just does like a dive bomb on him. I'm like, oh my god, guys, like you didn't even try and make it look realistic. But I mean, it is Dynasty Warriors, so that's fair. But basically, they end up somewhat respecting each other from this.
Yeah.
They at least know that they're strong warriors. My favorite build up to the Hulao Gate battle is the one with Lu Bu. Because it's fantastic. Lu Bu, for some reason, is like wandering around outside and goes to this river and sees this woman who is like trying to drown herself in the river. And he's like, oh, no, don't do that. And she pulls out a knife. He's like, don't you come near me. Don't you do it.
He's like, what is going on with you?
So once again, at one of my moments of like, oh, I know who this is. This is, I'm going to say her name wrong. Diao-chan, I think is her name. But anyway, she is a character who in the games is married to Dong Zhuo, does not want to be married to Dong Zhuo, and ends up being married to Lu Bu. So that is sort of portrayed here. She does not want to be married to Dong Zhuo.
Which they don't tell you that at this point that that's who she's supposed to be betrothed to.
Yeah.
She just says like, "Oh, I'm getting married to someone I really don't want to."
Yep. And so he's like, "All right, well, marry me instead."
She's like, "All right, I guess."
Also, he ends up just stabbing himself in the arm in the middle of this proposal.
You want to know how serious I am?
He just takes the knife from her and is like, blop, right in the arm. I'm like, what?
And then pulls the knife out and there's no blood on it.
There's no blood on the knife. Lu Bu doesn't bleed.
No.
It was hysterical. This was a really, really funny scene.
And then
like looking at her like with romance in his eyes, like, yes. Where can I find you? Who are you?
I'll figure that out later. But also, we're just never gonna follow up on this.
Nope. We do see her once again, like near the end, but there's zero follow up, zero payoff on any of that. Literally a whole situation of like, how are they gonna find each other? Like, it's so weird, but it's such a funny scene.
Yep.
You know, just casually stabbing yourself in the middle of proposing marriage to this person who was trying to commit suicide.
As you do.
You know, Dynasty Warriors things, just Dynasty Warriors things. So all of that leads us up to Hulao Gate, where the plan is to have the three, Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei, take basically like the front of the gate and distract Lu Bu so that everybody else can like get into the city and take down Zhang Zhuo, and save the emperor. Because the entire time Liu Bei is like, my only interest is preserving the emperor. Like, I want to preserve the Han. And so I was like, cool story, bro. Like, it's not really the same for me, but like, I appreciate that. I do want to save the emperor, but so they kind of set them up on like a weird suicide mission, but turns out those three are pretty freaking talented in the ways of Musou. So we're leading up to the battle. A lot of dudes have left the Allied forces because they're scared.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the three main guys and their troops all lined up, ready to go, looking intimidating with all their numbers. We got Lu Bu across the bridge, also ready to go, looking intimidating with his cockroach hat. And then it is revealed that like most of the soldiers on Liu Bei's side are just straw guys.
Yep.
Literal straw men. And Lu Bu's like, oh, you dummies. I see through your ruse. There aren't many of you. I can do this. But then formations happen. And Sorry. This is the part where you got excited, which is rare. But you got excited because of the formations they were making.
Yeah.
Because they essentially like build up a like Dynasty Warriors map.
Yeah, it was really funny.
With the soldiers, I was like, oh, that's pretty good. They doing like some shielding techniques and building walls out of soldiers. Yeah, in the game you would end up going in that and killing the enemy soldiers and taking over, and that would be your resources. But all that happens, and you get the Brutas and Lubu going at it, and the bridge gets destroyed, and you get a reference to my favorite Dynasty Warriors opening, even though it is a different scenario that happens in, where they get to like slide down a waterfall and fight each other. And I was like, yes, yes, give me the Dynasty Warriors 7. Hands down, best Dynasty Warriors opening, period. Honestly, one of my favorite video game openings of all time, Dynasty Warriors 7. So when I saw this, I was very, very hype. It has to be a reference. There's no way they wouldn't think that that's a reference. Like,
Right.
you don't just have people fight down waterfalls casually, do you?
I mean, maybe.
All right. Well, anyway, they're gonna fight. Brutas versus Lubu, and Lubu's kind of kicking their ass.
He is Lubu. Do not pursue Lubu.
They pursued Lubu. They pursued him. And there's a lot of fighting going on in the water, and eventually he's like, hey, I'm winning. And the dudes with their cool new weaponry, they're like, oh, the weapons eat the blood. But can they eat the blood of the owner of the weapon?
Let's stab ourselves.
So they just stab themselves. Like Guan Yu does like a nice swipe across his chest, which like he's shirtless at this point, and I forgot why.
Battle damage.
Yeah, I guess so. He's just like, time to be shirtless. All right, let me just cool. So their weapons power up. Gonna fight Lubu until Lubu has to retreat. And I forget what happens.
He's like, this isn't over.
Something happens, he sees it, and he's like, ah, shoot, I gotta go. Do you remember what it is?
I don't remember either.
But there's something that happens like above him, and he's like, oh, I gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's smoke.
It might be smoke because I think they infiltrated the city.
Yeah, Luo Yang is infiltrated, and Dong Zhuo escaped.
Yeah.
But I think it's a smoke that he's like, ooh, this has been fun, guys, but I gotta bounce. Goodbye. And the brothers are like, we'll take that. We'll take that as a victory. We pursued Lubu and we survived. Also, ow. Because they got beat up. So yeah, you find out the results of that. Dong Zhuo has retreated from Luo Yang. I don't remember, is the Emperor freed at this point?
They grab the seal.
Sun Xian grabs the Imperial seal, and that is an actual thing that happens. That Sun Xian ends up grabbing that, and everybody's like, you probably shouldn't have that, but...
And I think Cao Cao is supposed to go get the Emperor, but they don't.
Okay.
I may be wrong.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Specifically, so.
But something to that extent.
And then we get a time skip.
Yep. Well, we do get the scene also with Diao Chan in the wagon.
Yeah,
when they're escaping.
This person with her is like, yo, you gotta murder that dude. She's like, I know. And then we get the time skip.
Then we get the time skip. Yes.
It's like a few years later, and it's basically just here's Cao Cao and Liu Bei hanging out, where Cao Cao comes to visit them, and Cao Cao's like, "I'm gonna take over the country," and Liu Bei's like, "That doesn't seem like a good idea, my dude." Cao Cao's like, "I think it is. All right, gotta go. Bye.
Still gonna do it.
Maybe we won't be friends after this. See ya."
Also, he has a facial hair there, and it made me happy.
He did.
But yeah, he's like, just gonna take it over. It's fine. It's fine. Liu Bei's like, oh, Cao Cao. Why? I don't know if it's actually historically accurate as to what actually happened here, but do you know who ends up killing Dong Zhuo?
Nope.
You want to take a guess?
Lu Bu.
It is Lu Bu.
For his lady.
And again, I don't know if it's actually accurate. It's accurate to the games, but like Lu Bu and Dong Zhuo are like related-ish, like whether it's an adopted son or a stepson or something like that. But there's actually some kind of like familial relation as opposed to just like, hey, he's my top general. But yeah, he just murders him, takes his lady.
Cool.
You know, as you do. When you're Lu Bu, you can do whatever you want. Yeah. This was a film.
It sure was.
Oh man. I'll be real with you. If they'd cut out like most of the middle half, or like the middle of the movie, if they'd like kept the bookends there and kept some of the more ridiculous scenes in the middle and then maybe added some more ridiculous battle scenes in there, I would have been way happier. Because a lot of the like middle bits of it were just bad.
Yeah.
But not good bad. Like there's a lot of moments in this I was like, this is Terra bad and I love it. I was just like, oh man, this is not what I asked for. I want Cao Cao having like a moral dilemma on whether or not he murdered people.
The fact that there was only 2 big Muso-esque fight scenes is not what you want from a film called Dynasty Warriors.
No. And I'm so upset because there's the battle with the flaming ships. It's so cool. And that would have been really rad. But that's later on in the timeline. So, I mean, obviously they stuck with the like earliest of the battles, like the first 2 basically, which is fine to keep it limited, I guess, but like there was just a lot there that could have been done differently.
Yeah, I feel like if you're making a Dynasty Warriors film, you should just make it a bombastic action film.
Yeah, just make it as ridiculous as possible.
This really tried to retell, I guess, the story of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms in a way that I just don't really think it works.
No.
As an adaptation for Dynasty Warriors specifically.
Yeah, it's a thing. And like the big flaming ships battle that I was referring to, like that one has Liu Bei and Sun Quan as like the leaders against Cao Cao. But like the other like big film about this is like Red Cliffs, and like that's literally like Battle of Red Cliffs is that battle. It has a different name. What is the name of it? Shoot, I don't remember. But anyway, Battle of Red Cliffs is its like nickname. So like that is a very, very famous battle in all of this. And like what would have been really cool is if they cut out some of that middle bit and then had that like flash forward that they did at the end and then had that battle of the Red
Yeah.
Cliffs. Like that would have been super cool. And then you would have had like Sun Quan getting to do some stuff. You would have had like Liu Bei. You would have really had all three of the main forces. Like you would have had Wei, Shu, and Wu all in one place at one time doing a battle. Whereas like Wu kind of fell on the wayside in this one, and you don't really see a lot of Liu Bei's like build up. You see like him with his three dudes, but you don't see him like really become like
A dude.
a man of the people and like how he gets his forces and how he like you see eventually he gets that by the river, but like you don't really know why or how and why it's important. Um, but I think it would have been really, really cool to have that as like the actual bookend of it, to have like, oh, look, they all end up fighting anyway because this is the Romance of the Three Kingdoms and they all fight each other.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to like, oh, hey, we're just going to stick to like the main ones where they're all cooperating with some weird drama in the middle.
Yeah.
Like you would have had to introduce some new characters because that's just the nature of a time skip. And the fact that like, is it Zhuge Liang? I think is the strategist. And then you had Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu. Anyway, you would have to have some new characters introduced, and you wouldn't have a whole lot of time to do that. And you would have Sun Quan grown up because obviously if he's commanding an army, he's a little bit older. And I think Sun Ce is dead by that time. Sun Jiang's definitely dead by that time. But like that's one of the set pieces of the series. It's one of the big battles. It's one of the things that like Romance of the Three Kingdoms and Dynasty Warriors are known for. So I was kind of expecting it to be in there, and it wasn't. It was a bummer. So it felt like a weird like spark notes to the beginning.
Yeah. So not the Dynasty Warriors film you would have wanted.
It had moments that I very much enjoyed, but it could have been better.
Yeah. Which is probably saying a lot for a film called Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah. I mean, I have no regrets watching it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It was a fun time, even if it isn't exactly what I wanted. But you know, it was good.
What more could you ask for?
I mean, a lot, but
True. Yes.
but I'll take what I got.
Yeah.
Because I would never have expected to get a Dynasty Warriors film in the first place, honestly.
Fair.
I did not realize that the series was popular enough to get a film. And here we are.
Here we are.
Which I guess it probably doesn't hurt that it's Chinese and like China would be pretty hyped to be like, yo, this was us.
Yeah.
Let's make a cool movie about it.
Yeah.
But man, like, special effects didn't do it any favors.
No.
Man. Do you have any thoughts?
I think like mostly what I said earlier, like I feel like this film should have had way more action, a lot less just story development in the middle, and more than 2 Muso fights.
Yeah.
Because it's a Dynasty Warriors game. Why aren't all of the fights Muso fights?
Yep.
But that's what I would think. As someone who doesn't have like the lore experience that you do.
That's valid.
Yeah.
Man, I love Dynasty Warriors. I just want to play Dynasty Warriors now, honestly.
Have a better time.
Yeah. Yeah, I want. I guess I could play Hyrule Warriors, but I really just want to play Dynasty Warriors. I want to play good Dynasty Warriors, and I don't know that I'd be able to do that. Give me a new good Dynasty Warriors, please.
Listen to the Muso Queen.
Please. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for much. Not asking for much.
Not asking for much. Well, there you go. That's the Dynasty Warriors film.
Yay.
It sure is a film.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That's going to do it for this episode.
Woo.
So if you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Jared and Al Watch, which will be beginning its new season this Wednesday.
Oh, snap.
Oh, snap indeed. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Aunt Ladium, go to antladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can buy our books, One Shining Moment, A Critical Analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to unedited versions of the podcast and bonus episodes as well.
Woo.
Next week, we will discuss more things.
Yes.
What those things will be, who knows at the moment.
There'll be fun things for us to discuss.
Yes.
Yes.